Badlands. What are the Badlands? Explain those Badlands. That's a hell of a name.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Daily Herold here on Badlands Media. I am your host, John Herold, and we're going to get through as much news as we possibly can in under an hour. I know that Kash Patel is set to be confirmed today. He finally cleared his final procedural hurdle, whatever they call it. I think the cloture thing was they passed the 30 hours here in about 45 minutes, allegedly. He's going to be confirmed. And while this is happening, you know, the Democrats, they're going through their floor speeches. They're all crying. There's a huge protest taking place outside trying to block Kash Patel's vote. And the scenes that we're seeing unfold here with this protest are just remarkable. But here's Senator Winehouse. Take a listen.
Judiciary Committee, what crimes it was that he was concerned about that caused him to plead the fifth. Kash Patel, mark my words, will cause evil in this building behind us, and Republicans who vote for him will rue that day. Judiciary Committee.
So that's like a warning, a threat from Senator Winehouse, White House, whatever his name is. They're scared, and it's funny to watch when government officials are actually scared and the stuff they do. Like who thought it was a good idea to have 5 people come out to this weak little protest? Could they not even afford their fake like sympathizers, the actors, to stand behind them and chant stuff this time? You said cut off that money. It's ridiculous. But that vote is going to take place. I'm going to try to keep my eye on the feed from the Senate confirmation hearing. So if it does happen, I'll take us over. We'll watch that and we'll celebrate a little bit. Very excited to see him get in there. Real quick, you know, since the Democrats are warning us that things are going to be really scary with Kash Patel as the FBI director, maybe now is the perfect time to get Safe Streets. Now's the perfect time to secure your home and your loved ones. Get a free ADT smart home security system valued at $1,200 from ADT authorized provider Safe Streets. Plus, get a Google Nest doorbell camera at no cost and a $200 Visa gift card from Safe Streets, the most trusted name in home security, with more than 106,000 4.9-star Trustpilot reviews. Visit getsafestreets.com/badlands or call 925-529-6541. That's 925-529-6541 to speak to a representative today. $99 customer installation charge and purchase of new monitoring service required for termination fee to apply. All right, guys. Mitch McConnell is finally retiring. He's still going to serve out the remainder of his term, so that blows, because that's through 2026. But he announced this morning in his floor speech thing that he's done.
7 times, my fellow Kentuckians have sent me to the Senate. Every day in between, I've been humbled by the trust they placed in me to do their business right here. Representing our Commonwealth has been the honor of a lifetime. I will not seek this honor an 8th time. My current term in the Senate will be my last.
Amazing. And he's gotten so fragile. I wonder if he'll even make that long. Like, not to be rude or anything, but yeah, he's gone. So that's good news. And it was kind of funny. War Room, they like were freaking out. Let me play this.
Caroline Wren over here is reporting Senator McConnell is retiring.
Yeah, Senator Mitch McConnell just retired. It's Christmas Day.
Okay, guys, see the crowd they have here? Like, they're live at CPAC. You can kind of see the crowd scanning through there. If you come to GART, the crowd is even better than this. There's more people. It's even more exciting. A lot more fun. I'm sure CPAC's just fine. Bannon's great, but get your GART tickets, badlandsmedia.tv/events. Tomorrow afternoon at 3 p.m. Eastern, we are going to be doing our first exclusive live stream event. Mrs. Brett, I got that confirmed, by the way. 3 p.m. Eastern. So if you are a ticket holder, whether that's in person or virtual, you will get access to that exclusive live stream. Depending on how many people we have there, we may even take calls. We'll see. But get your tickets and join us in those streams. We're going to have a couple of them before the event in a couple of weeks. So let's check on Doge real quick. The website, there hasn't been any major updates other than Twitter stuff. The savings page is still 55 billion. So we haven't had it updated. I think this spending tab here is new. I haven't seen this. This is interesting. And I wonder why they use fiscal year 2019. But man, look at how much everything has gone up in spending. I guess pre-COVID numbers. That's why they use that. Look at that. 51.7% change in 5 years. It's like we had the COVID spending bill, like this huge push for spending. We raised the budget, all these things, and we never went back. And this is one of the reasons I didn't like Vivek Ramaswamy, by the way, is because he's like, if we just go back to pre-COVID numbers cannot be the benchmark because we were still on an unsustainable path at that point. We need to go like back to we need to go back to 1776 numbers where we didn't have any deficit or spending. We'll talk more about what Trump is going to be doing here, but I first want to address this. Talked about it a little bit last night, posted about it, obviously. Representative Anna Paulina Luna, the chairwoman of the task force on the declassification of federal secrets, today provided an update to the panel's efforts to declassify documents of public interest. That's what she says. All federal agencies are cooperating with the task force and will provide the requested briefings in the coming weeks. So she sent a letter to all the agencies and was like, hey, let us know how many classified documents relating to these topics you have. Not like show us the document, just how many do you have? Okay. As we work to understand the full scope of federal documents related to key national secrets, we are preparing for the task force's first hearing on March 26th. Keep that in mind, March 26th. They already set a date, which will examine the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. In advance of the hearing, the task force will visit the assassination site in Dallas and speak with firsthand witnesses regarding President Kennedy's assassination. We remain committed to delivering the transparency that Americans demand from their government. And you guys already know how I feel about this task force initially. She has admitted they have no declassification authority. They can't subpoena anybody without going to Comer first. So this committee itself, the task force, whatever, has no subpoena power. It's not even a permanent like subcommittee. It's not a real subcommittee. It's like a subcommittee. And it's only there for 6 months or something. And I think it's just redundant. In a time of efficiency and Doge and making the government more efficient, all these things, I already had an issue with this task force, okay? And now they're getting a taxpayer-funded trip to Dallas to speak with firsthand witnesses from 60 years ago regarding the assassination, okay? 60 years. Like, so the people... Anybody that will remember anything from that time, they would have been like, what, anywhere from 10 to 20 years old at that time? They're going to be 70 now. They're investigating something from 60 years ago, and we're paying them to go to Dallas to do it? This is insane. Like, why are we paying for them to go to Dallas to study something from 60 years ago? I still fully think, guys, like she's pretty much admitted, if you go look at her replies on Twitter, that they're going to get access to the declassified documents when we do. They're going to be posted online, and their hearings are just going to be going through the documents that we're going through anyway. And this is my issue with this whole thing. We can do it. I get the arguments for public disclosure. It's for the normies, whatever. I don't think normies watch this type of TV like we do. But this is a waste of money. How much money are we spending for these people to go to Dallas to investigate this? I'm not cool with it. And I know people disagree. It's whatever. Anyway, let's keep going. The top U.S. attorney investigates threats against federal workers, and he names Schumer in a probe. The top U.S. prosecutor in Washington launched an investigation into threats against federal workers. He named Chuck Schumer as one of the targets. This is Ed Martin. U.S. Attorney Ed Martin said the probe was prompted by a conversation with a senior staffer at the Department of Government Efficiency Late last night, I took a call from a senior Doge staffer. We spoke about some pressing tech issues. Then he told me about threats against Doge workers. It is despicable that these men and women are being threatened. He wrote an email. He dubbed the investigation Operation Whirlwind and named Schumer, the top Democrat in the Republican-led Senate, as the subject. And he reached out to him, and I think he sent him a letter. This is great. I love this because the Democrats are the party with the violence rhetoric. They always try to pin it on us, but these are the people. There's that whole compilation from the summer of 2020 where they are calling for all sorts of violence against Republicans and the assassination of Trump, all these things. Yet they try to make it like we're the bad guys. So it's good. We should have this stuff investigated when it actually happens. If it actually happens, it's uncalled for. And then here's the letters he actually sent to the people. I won't read them. It's on Libs of TikTok, though, if you guys want to check it out. Okay, this is funny. We have another saga entry into the story going on between Russia, Ukraine, Trump, the peace negotiations. Yesterday on my show, I talked about this and why I think it's so funny, and how the fact that they are basically going to force an election to get rid of Zelensky before they even sign the peace deal. Like, that's the plan right now, the 3-stage plan: ceasefire, elections in Ukraine, then sign the peace deal. So it won't be Zelensky. And Matt Byram, I talked about in the Power Hour last night. He posited, what if Putin were to run for president in Ukraine and win? Interesting to think. But now Ukraine, Zelensky blocked Truth Social from availability in Ukraine. Like, so there's no access to Truth Social in Ukraine right now. It's like petty dictator BS. But it's funny. It's just another entry to the saga. I think it's only going to get better. It's only going to get more interesting to watch this unfold until we actually get the peace deal. And the people that have been benefiting from the grift that is the war in Ukraine, they're going to be freaking out the whole way through. And this actually brings me to, I wonder if I got, let me find this story, because I want to get this story next, since it's kind of tied to this. It's about the spending bill right here. Okay, check this out. So the Senate advances Ukraine funding amid GOP dissent. And this is just kind of the summary from Grok about what's going on. I don't have a specific story pulled up for it yet, but a budget resolution spearheaded by Senate Budget Committee Chairman Lindsey Graham, which includes significant funding for Ukraine until 2030, has stirred controversy among some Republican senators and figures like Elon Musk. Despite opposition from figures like Senators Josh Hawley and Mike Lee, who advocate for no further spending, the Senate GOP, led by Majority Leader John Thune, is pushing forward with this budget plan. Concurrently, calls for an audit of aid sent to Ukraine have gained traction, with Elon Musk and Dogecoin being referenced in these discussions. Probably not Dogecoin, probably the Doge aspect of our government. But yeah, I'm not on board with any more funding sent to Ukraine, period. But what makes it interesting is Trump on Truth Social this morning kind of praised Thune regarding this bill. Let me show you what I'm talking about. Great job on Fox yesterday by Senate Majority Leader John Thune in explaining how far Republican senators have come in working with Speaker Johnson and the Republican House on tax cuts, the border, and some of the most important legislation that our country has ever considered. Tremendous progress has been made, and Republicans are united like never before. Make America great again. So I think it's interesting. We have this bill proposal, which Lindsey Graham put forth the Ukraine spending in there. It's likely going to be put through the Senate's bill, and Trump is out here kind of praising it. So I wonder if he's just drawing attention to it. I don't know. It's always fun to try to figure out what Trump is actually up to and why he's up to it. But yeah, right now it's the Republicans in the House are kind of coming up with their own bill. The Senate is kind of coming up with their own bill. And I don't know, meet in the middle. I don't know what the plan is for that. But remember, the Democrats in the Senate are the ones that kind of have the leverage. And that's why I think it's going to be so interesting. And I'm going to say this probably every show until this actually happens. I think we're going to get a shutdown. I don't think the Democrats are going to give up the one piece of leverage they have and allow Trump's government to continue as it is right now. They can prevent any bill from reaching the 3/5 threshold they need. They need 7 Democrats to cross over and vote in favor of of whatever bill it's going to be, so they can get beyond the cloture and actually vote on it on the floor for simple majority. I don't think they're going to let them do that. I wouldn't if I were them. It's the only leverage they have. So we'll just keep tabs on it and see what happens. We got this from the SEC. They're launching a crypto unit, or well, not crypto, it's a cyber unit, but they're attempting to combat fraud in crypto and a few other areas. The SEC, Securities and Exchange Commission, today announced the creation of the Cyber and Emerging Technologies Unit to focus on combating cyber-related misconduct and to protect retail investors from bad actors in the emerging technology space. The CETU, led by Laura Dialliard, replaces the Crypto Assets and Cyber Unit and is comprised of approximately 30 fraud specialists and attorneys across multiple SEC offices. They are going to be following the priority areas: fraud committed using emerging technologies such as AI and machine learning, use of social media, the dark web, or false websites to perpetrate fraud. That's an interesting one and kind of broad. I wonder if it's like just the pump and dump crypto stuff. I wonder if we're going to see, I'm not going to have to talk to myself on Telegram and have you guys ever had that? Like, see me reach out to you on Telegram and try to sell you a crypto or something? Because if that's ever happened, that's not actually me. And they have DM'd me on Telegram too. It's hilarious. Hacking to obtain material, non-public information, takeovers of retail brokerage accounts, fraud involving blockchain technology and crypto assets. I think that's definitely one of the primary ones. You think of, like, what's the most recent major rug pull? Was it the Hawk Tua coin or whatever? Stuff like that is criminal. I totally agree. And if there can be anything done to prevent and stop those things from happening, I'm all for it. And then regulated entities compliance with cybersecurity rules and regulations, public issuer fraudulent disclosure relating to cybersecurity. And yeah, guys, I am still keeping my eyes on the cash confirmation stuff. Haven't seen anything come through yet. I'm gonna actually get C-SPAN pulled up just in case here. Hold for processing, guys. Just don't want to miss it. Where's the live version? Well, never mind. If any of you guys have a link for C-SPAN for me to watch, I'll watch it in the background. That way I can pull it up when it's time. If you could put that in the chat, that would be greatly appreciated. Next up, this is pretty awesome. Washington Free Beacon is reporting that Doge finds $2 billion in taxpayer funds earmarked for Stacey Abrams linked group. EPA Chief Lee Zeldin says revelation extremely concerning. And if you remember, I think it was yesterday or 2 days ago, I was talking about that story. I think it was yesterday. The EPA, the DOJ wanted an attorney general to investigate the EPA and get a grand jury started, like commence a grand jury to look into what happened at the EPA. And I said, it's so exciting because this is proof they're going to go after the people that were being corrupt with our tax dollars. They were going to do it. They are doing it. And that's the implications of that are huge. But this here, tying Stacey Abrams to it, the EPA, this is massive. And not just because Stacey Abrams herself is a little massive. It's a massive story. Doge discovered $2 billion in taxpayer funds set aside for a fledgling nonprofit linked to perennial Georgia Democratic candidate Stacey Abrams. The EPA under the Biden administration awarded Power Forward Communities the grant in April 2024 as part of the agency's Greenhouse Gas Reduction Fund program. Power Forward Communities received the Green Energy Grant despite the fact that it was founded months earlier in late 2023 and never managed anywhere near the grant's dollar figure. It reported just $100 in total revenue during its first 3 months in operation, according to its latest tax filings. Guys, if we start seeing Democratic politicians going down because money like this is tied to the election fraud infrastructure that they had put in place, this is huge. Absolutely huge. So stay tuned. I'm not going to go any further on this story, but man, if they are actually investigating all of these different agencies and the corrupt spending, I think it's It's going to be amazing, especially when Cash gets in there. It's going to be so good. We got this from Trump yesterday on the plane. Stephen Chung behind him, too, who's a great follow on social media, by the way. Take a listen.
Do you know what they're looking at specifically at the Department of Defense right now?
Yeah, they're looking at everything.
And are they going to cut more national
We're
security
going to go into Fort Knox to make sure the gold is there.
Are they going to
You know
cut
that
more?
we're going to go into Fort Knox. Do you know about that?
Sir,
That was that bad bump.
are they going to eliminate more national security positions, civilians there?
We'll
at
see what
DoD?
happens. But one of the things we do want to look at, we hope everything's fine with Fort Knox, but we're going to go to Fort Knox, the fabled Fort Knox, to make sure the gold is there.
Where would this President you haven't brought up?
If the gold isn't there, we're going to be very upset.
Think about this. Donald Trump, president, he was president for 4 years before. And back in 2016 to 2020, 2017 to 2020, he wasn't it Steve Mnuchin who went to Fort Knox to see? I'm pretty sure he did. I'm pretty sure he went to Fort Knox. Somebody fact check me on that. He knows if the gold is there, don't you think? You think Donald Trump wouldn't know if the gold is actually there? Why is he drawing attention to this and speaking like that? Unless maybe, what if it's not actually there? Sorry, it was too quiet, guys. The volume was all the way up. That was not on me. That was on the video from the airplane. So, I'm very intrigued now, because at first it was kind of just like a meme thing. You saw Elon Musk talking about it, and it was a funny thought, like, hey, let's go to Fort Knox and see if the gold's still there. But now Trump is doing it, and I don't think he would do it if there wasn't a there. Like, is he going to draw attention to it? We're just going to go and, oh, yep, we got all the gold. I don't know. There's something else going on now that Trump's engaging with this narrative. I'm excited to see. Let's keep going here, though. Defense Secretary orders Pentagon to prepare for major budget cuts. Hegseth has been great. He's we still need to complete an audit. We've 7 years in a row we failed an audit at the DoD, but he's already calling for budget reductions. Remember, I showed you at the beginning. I'll go back to this screen. The DoD 5 years ago, the budget was $654 billion. It's up to $826 billion. Plenty that can be cut out from just these last couple of years. Let's see what he does, and let's see if we can pass an audit. But yeah, I'm loving Pete Hegseth. There are rumors going on right now that some top Pentagon officials are going to be let go and fired. The current chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff is rumored to be one of the people that they're looking to let go. I can't remember his name. It's something Q, Charles Q, I think. Chairman, Joint Chiefs. Yeah. Hold up. Yeah, Charles Q. Brown Jr. Rumors are that he may be getting let go. Just for those curious in the chat, there's a rant that came through. Monty710. John, will the ticket holders get an email to join live tomorrow? Yes, tomorrow, probably about a half an hour or so before we go live. And don't quote me on this. Room is bright if you're in the chat. Maybe I shouldn't say anything. But I believe it'll be like roughly half an hour to an hour before we go live. You'll get an email with a link to join tomorrow's stream. There we go. Yep, Real Miss Bright confirms. Yes, Monty, at 2 p.m. Eastern tomorrow, the email with the link will go out. So get your tickets, virtual or in person, so you can join us tomorrow's stream. Okay, another interesting one. Trump administration orders halt to New York City toll meant to fight traffic and fund mass transit. Trump posted about this, but the congestion toll that they had. President Donald Trump administration on Wednesday ordered to halt the congestion pricing tolls in New York City, which thin traffic and fund mass transit by making people pay to drive into Manhattan's core. This is the stupidest tax. So stupid. It was launched on January 5th. The city system uses license plate readers to impose a $9 toll on most vehicles entering Manhattan neighborhoods south of Central Park. Whenever I hear stuff like this, it always reminds me of the Unabomber. There's that show called Manhunt, the Unabomber or whatever. And in there, they're talking about, we were supposed to get cars and it could take you anywhere and drive you anywhere. And it was supposed to make you more free. But really, all it did was make us more constrained because you can only drive on certain roads and you have to stop at red lights when nobody's there. And And in this case, you have to pay $9 to enter a certain area. It just makes me think of that stuff. And the manifesto of the Unabomber. It's kind of interesting. I'm not worried about that putting me on any list because I'm already on lists. We got this yesterday. This is huge.
And I'm telling you, you watch it, we're going to do it.
If you get savings from these Doge cuts, are you going to give any of this back to the American people? We keep hearing about these Doge dividends.
Well, think about it. Donald Trump announces the External Revenue Service, and his goal is very simple. His goal is to abolish the Internal Revenue Service and let all the outsiders pay. I mean, this is someone who is focused on America. Let's drive down our waste, fraud, and abuse. I'll give you an example. Cruise ships. You ever see a cruise ship with an American flag on the back? They have flags of like Liberia or Panama. None of them pay taxes. None of them pay taxes. Every super tanker, none pays taxes. Alcohol, all foreign alcohol, no taxes. This is going to end under Donald Trump, and those taxes are going to be paid, and Americans' tax rates are going to come down. That's what Donald Trump wants to do. Balance our budget and cut our taxes. I mean, imagine a Democratic senator going against that. What planet are these people?
They're going to abolish the IRS. That's what they're working towards. Amazing. There's those rumors out there of, I think it was Elon Musk who floated the idea of a $5,000, check to people. I think Donald Trump came out and commented during his speech yesterday at the FII. He was like, 20% we can give back to taxpayers, 20% we could spend down our deficit or debt. And what about the rest of the 60%? He didn't really say anything. Could go to the investment fund, the sovereign wealth fund. I don't know. But I am all in favor of abolishing the IRS, getting rid of income taxes. I think we're heading there. We shall see, though. Dirk's heading back to work. Nice to see you, man. Thank you for tuning in. Hope you enjoy the show. But we'll see. Howard Lutnick got confirmed yesterday. I like the dude. I just want to point this out. This is in line with what we talked about yesterday. Trump's attack on Zelensky signals new world order taking shape. From alienating allies to praising adversaries, Trump appears set to abandon decades of foreign policy. Just a couple quotes to read here. And then we're going to get into some of Trump's actions from the last 24 hours, which have been pretty awesome. President Trump has dramatically shifted the direction of U.S. foreign policy in 4 short weeks, making the U.S. a less reliable ally and retreating from global commitments in ways that stand to fundamentally reshape America's relationship with the world. His top envoys have floated concessions to Russia in peace talks that stunned European allies, followed by Trump calling Ukraine's leader a dictator, and he kept Europeans at arm's length as the negotiations began. This is all stuff we already knew, okay? But this is the part I wanted to draw attention to. It's these people coming to the realization of what's actually going on here. And what's going on here is stuff we've been talking about on Badlands Media for pretty much 3 years. And his plans to increase tariffs heralded an end to American-fueled globalization. What have we been saying? It's like the sovereign populace versus globalists. Like the globalists are the enemy. And what Trump is doing is ending the American-fueled globalization. No one expected Trump to handle global affairs like his predecessors, but few expected him to move so rapidly to reorient U.S. foreign policy away from the course it has charted since 1945. What he's doing here is remarkable, and how quickly he's doing it is also remarkable. I have a lot of thoughts going on. Sometimes that's a bad thing. A lot of thoughts about Trump's first term in office, and as the second term unfolds, the way we view Trump's first term in office is going to, the picture it's going to form is going to be so much clearer because he didn't do any of these things the first time around. And I think the impact of doing these things that he's doing right now the first time around, he probably could have, I don't know, he probably could have done it, but the reason he didn't is what makes it so interesting to me. And there's so many more aspects to this when it comes to like devolution and all these other theories. Like it had to be this way. It really did. And how far we've come since then, it's amazing to see the country actually being turned onto the right track and being able to witness it happen in real time. It's a very exciting time to really be alive. I know that's kind of cliche thing to say, but it's very true. What else we got here? Okay. And I am still keeping tabs on the hearing stuff. If the vote takes place, we'll go to it live. But let's talk a little bit about what Trump promised he was going to do. He came through on this promise this morning. The State Department website, they have officially designated a few of the international cartels as terrorists. So today, the State Department is fulfilling one of President Trump's first promises since he took office. I'm pleased to announce the department's designation of 8 organizations as foreign terrorist organizations, FTOs, and specially designated global terrorists, SDGTs. And the ones that they have named are Tren de Aragua, and I'm going to butcher these, so forgive me in advance. Mara Salvatrucha, Cartel de Sinaloa, Cartel de Jalisco Nueva Generación, Cartel de Noresta, La Nueva Familia. Okay, I'm done. Never mind. I'm not even going to try anymore. The intent of designating these cartels and transnational organizations as terrorists is to protect our nation, the American people, and our hemisphere. That means stopping the campaigns of violence and terror by these vicious groups of people in the U.S. and internationally. These designations provide law enforcement additional tools to stop these groups. That's the part that's key. That part is key. It's going to allow law enforcement and I believe our military more tools to go after these people. There was a story the other day of the CIA spy plane, like they're getting recon over where these people make their drugs and the facilities and whatnot. I wouldn't expect to see military directly involved in these. And I actually, Carlos, I did take Espanol in high school. But it's just funny, like when you don't care about a subject in school, it's kind of amazing how little of it you will remember. You need to have that passion for it. Otherwise you don't retain much of the information. Okay. I'm not going to go through all these, but just to make you aware, on the website, President Trump announces appointments to the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs. List of names. I read through them. None of them really stuck out to me. So, but if you guys want to go take a look, you sure can. I wonder if it even says what this office does. Yeah, the White House Office of Intergovernmental Affairs reports to Assistant to the President and White House Deputy Chief of Staff James Blair. The office is managed by so-and-so. They serve as the administration's principal liaison to state, local, tribal, and territorial governments, fostering an open channel for advancing key administration priorities and interagency coordination. It's like, do we really need that? Maybe not. Do we really need this one either? This is another one he announced, the appointments to the Council of Governors. The fact that Kathy Hochul's on here and Josh Shapiro tells me that this thing is, who cares? But this is what he did. He announced the new appointments to the Council of Governors, a bipartisan group of state leaders tasked with strengthening state-federal partnerships on key national security, disaster response, and military coordination issues. Whatever. This is the big one, or I guess there's a couple big ones here. Ending taxpayer subsidization of open borders. I know I'm normally bad at talking, but like today is extra bad. I wonder if I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed or something. I am struggling with my reading today. Anyway, they're stopping the funding of illegal immigrants. Like common sense. This order directs federal departments and agencies to identify all federally funded programs currently providing financial benefits to illegal aliens and take corrective action. It ensures that federal funds to states and localities will not be used to support sanctuary policies or assist illegal immigration. It mandates improvements in eligibility verification to prevent benefits from going to individuals unlawfully present in the United States. President Trump is committed to safeguarding federal public benefits for American citizens who are truly in need, including individuals with disabilities and veterans. It's about time. I can't believe we were funding this stuff in the first place. I mean, I can believe it. But yeah, I wonder how much money that's going to save us. And we got this. And what I find interesting about Trump's executive orders when it comes to DOGE and like his authority to implement his agenda, it's like we keep getting more and more executive orders along the same lines, but it's like there's an issue presented publicly. Maybe it's a lawsuit or something. That's okay. This is our point of attack on DOGE. You can't do this. because of this rule. And then Trump comes out with an executive order pretty much counteracting that and be like, well, in order for me to implement my agenda, and then it gets more narrowed and specific and counters the argument that they file in court. You know what I mean? So this one and the next one are both examples of him doing that. Ensuring lawful governance and implementing the president's Department of Government Efficiency deregulatory initiative. And then I'll read through a couple of these things here. It is the policy of my administration to focus the executive branch's limited enforcement resources on regulations squarely authorized by constitutional federal statutes, and to commence the deconstruction of the overbearing and burdensome administrative state. Ending federal overreach and restoring the constitutional separation of powers is a priority of my administration. Rescinding unlawful regulations and regulations that undermine national interest. That's the heading. Within 60 days of the date of this order, agency heads shall, in consultation with the Attorney General as appropriate, identify the following classes of regulations. Anything based on unlawful delegations of legislative power, anything that implicate matters of social, political, or economic significance that are not authorized by clear statutory authority, impose significant costs upon private parties that are not. I mean, it just goes on and on. Pretty much anything that's unconstitutional or doesn't specifically fit a federal statute, they're just not going to fund it anymore. And that's not even like necessarily cutting it at this time. They're working to deconstruct it, but they're not going to use resources to fund things. It's almost like this is the efficient way to halt these programs without actually cutting them outright. Like, just if you find these things, let's not go through the process of cutting it yet. Even let's just defund it. Let's stop spending money on it. That's what they're working to do. Then next we got this one, another goodie. Commencing the reduction of the federal bureaucracy. It's rumored there's going to be like 6,000 IRS agents fired today. I haven't seen like confirmation on it. We haven't seen anything come through, but that's the rumor. So he's definitely moving full speed ahead with the reduction of the workforce. It is the policy of my administration to dramatically reduce the size of the federal government while increasing its accountability to the American people. This order commences a reduction in the elements of the federal bureaucracy that the president has determined are unnecessary. Reducing the size of the federal government will minimize government waste and abuse, reduce inflation, and promote American freedom and innovation. Reducing the scope of federal bureaucracy, the non-statutory components and functions of the following governmental entities shall be eliminated to the maximum extent consistent with applicable law. And he like name drops multiple things. And this is kind of a new way to do it. Before, it's like Doge has been highlighting these things and, they've been cut, whatever. But here's an executive order where he's specifically calling out 4 entities and being like, we are done funding these. And I wonder why that is. I tried looking it up a little bit. I kind of ran out of time. I know the Presidio Trust here is in California. And that's as far as I got, if I'm being totally transparent. I didn't get a chance to look at any of these other ones. But the Inter-American Foundation, the United States African Development Foundation, and the United States Institute of Peace. So likely woke little agencies here that we were funding. And Trump just said, hey, no, we're done. We're done with that. Then it goes through and edits some of the other executive order, which I haven't had the chance to go through and detail out. So I'll do that this afternoon. Let's see. This is on CNN's website. Like the very top, the first story, Trump's approval rating higher than it's ever been. And the fact that CNN is reporting on that is amazing. Apparently, the White House is holding a briefing after Trump envoy meets with Ukrainian President Zelensky. Interesting. See what comes out of that. But this is the story. Oh, I jumped the gun earlier. My bad. Hegseth could fire some senior generals and admirals soon, sources say. Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth could soon move to fire more than half a dozen generals and flag officers, according to 2 sources familiar with the matter. So again, that's 2 sources, anonymous sources, hard to confirm it, but there's been a lot of these, sources familiar with the matter that have been accurate. So this would not shock me. Rumors about the pending dismissals have been percolating for weeks. There's a formal list of those who could be fired recently shared with Republican lawmakers, suggesting that the dismissals could be imminent. One of the sources said Democrats were not briefed directly. The list includes General C.Q. Brown, chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Before he was nominated, Hegseth said Brown should be fired because of his woke focus on diversity, equity, and inclusion programs inside the military. Yeah, when he first got promoted, I actually reached out to somebody with a military background, Air Force background, and asked about it. And he was a little concerned. He's like very woke. And you go and look at some of his former posts and videos, and yeah, the guy is pretty darn woke. So good to see Hank Seth moving forward with that. Okay, I'm going to show this story. I think this is the one I wanted to show. Yeah, Department of Education spending soared 749% despite downsizing. New Doge-inspired initiative reveals spending has outpaced not just inflation, but also growing headcounts, often many times over. Guys, when this stuff like this is happening, this is corruption. That means there's something corrupt taking place. According to Open the Books, staff levels at the Department of Education have decreased since 2000, but the agency's spending grew by 749%. That's just insane. And by the way, I got sent this today. Let me pull it up. Okay, North Dakota is in the process of potentially voting on a state-funded tuition and aid for private schools, which I want to see. This is a school choice bill. I'm very skeptical this will go through. Doug Burgum actually vetoed a bill kind of similar to this back in 2023. And I know this isn't relevant to everybody, but I think school choice should be. I think every state should have school choice. And there's a lot of Republicans out there, and North Dakota is a great example, who they got elected because we're a pro-Trump state, a very pro-Trump state. And as Trump's agenda is unfolding, the state is becoming even more and more pro-Trump. Everybody is realizing how in line with the Trump agenda they are. Okay. But time and time again, North Dakota, and I'm sure there's other states that are just like this, they pretend to be pro-Trump, pro-MAGA, pro-America first. But when it comes to bills like this, something Trump has talked about, something even these Republicans in North Dakota have talked about, as like, hey, we need school choice. Let's do school choice, all these things. When push comes to shove, they don't actually vote it in. This is like the sixth vote in a row or something crazy. Don't quote me on that because that could be wrong. But it's stuff like this that we need to hold our local politicians accountable. And if I can figure out a way to do that here, I have a platform. It's people from all over. It's not just in North Dakota. I kind of keep to myself here for the most part. But it's stuff like this that we need to be able to put pressure on these people to put this stuff through, because the double speak we can no longer tolerate it. It cannot be tolerated any further. These people, if they're going to talk as if they're pro-Trump and pro-MAGA and pro-America first, then we need to make sure that they follow through on that and vote for the policies that are pro-Trump, pro-MAGA, pro-America first, like school choice. And we need our elections fixed so we can hold them accountable at the ballot box. But that's a whole nother story. Have to play this video. We're getting close to the end of the stories here, and Kash Patel is still not. His vote is not taking place yet. It's supposed to be in like now, I thought, but we'll see. Listen to this video.
Don't believe Trump.
Yeah.
And what he said is that Trump has never really wanted to be president. He actually has always wanted to be king. And he also says that his plan this time is to first play king on television. And if we believe he is already king, we will be likelier to let him govern as a king. So don't believe him, because right now what we're seeing is he's waving his scepter, his king scepter.
Yeah.
Congestion pricing is gone.
Right.
He's waving his scepter.
Although I'm pro-congestion pricing being gone, and Whoopi would agree with me.
Well, I don't know. I feel like my drive-in has been a little bit easier and smoother. But he's waving the scepter around, and people seem to think that things are happening by executive order. And I think that is his plan. He wants to run for a third term.
Well, frankly, I think
don't believe.
I think I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think he actually wants a third term. I think best case scenario is so much corruption and BS is uncovered over what happened in Trump's first term and how they stole the election, that everybody comes to the conclusion that Trump deserves a third term. And maybe there's even legislation passed that, get rid of the 2-term limits, whatever. We fix our elections, all these things. I don't think Trump would do it. I don't know if he would. if he truly accomplishes everything he needs to, all the hand wringing over, he's just a dictator, all these things, and he's going to want a third term, and everything's going to be there for him to accept a third term if he wanted it. And then I don't think he'll do it, just to kind of like prove all these people wrong. Not that would be the only reason for him to do it. I just think he won't need to do a third term, but he deserves one after what they put him through. A couple comments in here. Yo Mama says school choice is no good for homeschool. I think the proposal for school choice is like any student would have a education savings account, and the money would go into there, a certain amount for every student that can be used for whatever. And I think that would include homeschool. Don't quote me on that, but that's the way it should be. And then Suf84 says, if Burgum vetoes it, don't you think Trump would notice? And he's so pro school of choice. He did veto it in 2023. I have to imagine Trump noticed it. The current governor, Armstrong, we'll see what he does. I have no idea. Next up, just a couple more things. Oh, here's a little video from Adam Schiff freaking out at that protest this morning.
This is someone we cannot trust. This is someone who lacks the character to do this job, someone who lacks the integrity to do this job. We know that. Our Republican colleagues know that. The only qualification Kash Patel has to be FBI director is that when everyone else in the first Trump administration said, no, I won't do that, that crosses moral, ethical, and legal lines, Kash Patel said, sign me up. In the first.
That's enough of that. Yeah, I think that's all I got. I got one True Social post, and I'll get you guys out of here, and you guys can go over and check out the Badlands coverage of the Kash Patel hearing and him getting voted in, since it hasn't started yet. Last one from Donald Trump here. I'll be calling our great American hockey team this morning to spur them on towards victory tonight against Canada, which, with far lower taxes and much stronger security, will someday, maybe soon, become our cherished and very important 51st state. I will be speaking before the governors tonight in D.C. and will sadly, therefore, be unable to attend, but we will all be watching, and if Governor Trudeau would like to join us, he would be most welcome. Good luck to everybody, and have a great game tonight. So exciting. President Donald J. Trump. Love the trolling here. Absolutely love the trolling. I'm excited to... Actually, I probably won't watch the game if I'm being totally honest. Just busy with other stuff. But I just love what Trump's doing here. He keeps coming back to Canada being that 51st state. I still don't actually think it's going to happen. And until we fix our elections, I don't want it to happen. But the trolling is magnificent. And so I'm here for more of that. But yeah, guys, that's everything. Hit that thumbs up. Greatly appreciated. Get your guard tickets, badlandsmedia.tv/events. Make sure you're following on all our socials. Our Instagram has been really taking off. So make sure you guys check that out. And I'll be right back to read through the rants. But I'll let the rest of you get out of here if you so choose. We'll see you tomorrow, 1 p.m. Eastern.
Let's get started.
That's what she said.
Oh, that's real good.
Why they stopping me?
All right. Let's get through some rants here. Q of Swords 3. Seems like there are archives of all witness interviews from then. Why is Luna redoing what's been done many times already? Crazy town. Like I said, guys, I truly believe that she came to Comer and was like, hey, I want to do a task force on the declassification. And Comer allowed her to do it. And all it's doing is basically grifting off of Trump's agenda. That's it. Same thing with the Doge committee. They're not actually uncovering the fraud. They're just highlighting stuff that Doge is doing. And they're like, they want the social media clout that comes with it. So she's pretending to be like this huge declassification person with no declass authority, no ability to subpoena anybody, and wasting taxpayer dollars when they're not going to get access to this information any sooner than we are. And I guarantee you they're not going to be able to come to better conclusions than we are. It's going to be worse. I see no reason for the need for this committee, but whatever. I've said this a million times. I know people disagree. It's part of the plan. Trust the plan. It's all, we can't call out wasteful spending because it's part of the plan. Whatever. 12 Indie Boy. Anyone voting for foreign aid before we fix our budget and spending needs to be investigated. Also, with cash getting in, how quickly do you think we see the Epstein files? I don't know. I think we see the 9/11 files, though, like probably within a day or two, because that's what he said he was going to do day one. I don't know if he said anything about releasing the Epstein files. Don't know. Foxman17 says, John, you're projecting. How am I projecting? If you could please clarify, I'd greatly appreciate that. And I'll wait. Dirk McGurkin, they should get Geraldo Rivera to host a live stream of them opening the doors to Fort Knox. That would be cool. Geraldo Rivera. Pretty funny. Pretty funny, Dirk. I hate that guy. Monty710, John, will the ticket holders get an email to join live tomorrow? Yes, we will send out that ticket at 2 p.m. Eastern, and the live stream will be at 3 p.m. Eastern. So get those tickets. Dirk McGurkin, Hochul is the unibrower. She's also the worst. Monty710, what's going on with leaving a rant? Are they making it more difficult, or is it just me? Thanks for all you do. I don't know what's going on, but I appreciate the rants. Thank you for the support. Sweet Me 21 for $20. I read that if the gold isn't there, the value of gold goes up. I also read a long time ago that the UK stole our gold. As to why they are sending it to New York right now, gold ends the Fed per Q. Yeah, that is an interesting one. Like with what's going on with the gold, I don't know specifically, and I wonder when we're going to audit. If we're going to wait for more of that gold to get here from London before we do, we shall see. CNS 1000, I believe the 20% from Doge is not a gift to every citizen. It's more like a reward for being a whistleblower, simply a reward for turning in those that are stealing our money. Well, it also is kind of like, it's just the money that we've paid in taxes that we shouldn't have. And honestly, it's not enough. Like, here, everybody, here's your $5,000 checks. Hope you're happy. Like, that's not enough based on what's been going on. But whatever. Foxman17 has not responded about my projections. So, and I'm done with the rants. I will still wait and watch the chat for you to give your explanation. But otherwise, I'm going to sign off. So you guys have a great rest of your day. See you tomorrow at 1 p.m. Eastern. Live stream after that, exclusive live stream for ticket holders at 3 p.m. Eastern. And then Liberty Den tomorrow night, Power Hour Saturday. Lots going on. Make sure you're following us on all socials. I'll see you next time I see you.